Hey, welcome to all my friends, all of the people that I've had the luxury of meeting during the past 4 years through Native Nation events. And when Justin O'Connor, our leader at Native Nation, asked me to provide a little message, I jumped on the opportunity to speak to you and try to put forth, I hope, the same message that I've given in a lot of the talks that we've been together. So many of you know my story. I'm Coach Jim Stroker, and my story started out early as a coach and as a teacher, and I got to coach the star of Native Nation events, Justin O'Connor. By the way, an amazing football player. And what happened was, when I was in 1989, my son and daughter, Jake and Allie, were in a terrible car accident. And my daughter Allie was 2, and my son Jake was 4. And Allie, at that point, was paralyzed from the chest down. And my son Jake sustained a traumatic head injury. And Jake was placed into a coma for 20 days, this close to death. Allie then came down with pneumonia and was this close to death. So, like almost all of you, I've been through a challenge. And like almost all of you, actually say all of you, what we learned during those challenges carry with us for the rest of our life. So the things I learned there beautifully stitch or mesh into the challenge all of us are facing right now. So obviously this current virus, this worldwide pandemic that has sent us all onto our heels and has sent thousands of people to hospitals, thousands of people dying, is something that in some way none of us have ever seen. And the onslaught of emotions that we're feeling, from fear, anxiety, tremendous sadness, feelings of anger, these onslaught of emotions have taken us into an environment that most of us are very unaccustomed to. But I believe there is a framework, somewhat of a guiding handbook that I have had the luxury of learning before this and have taken into this current situation that I'd like to share with you. And the first thing that I know, and you know, is that panic and reacting to these challenging situations never, ever can help, that never has been utilized by an effective leader in a difficult time. That it's our job to try to stay calm and to have an awareness of how we can bring a level of calmness into our body. And to realize that we have the tools in us to stay level-headed, clear-headed, and calm in the face of controversy. It's done through the breath. It sounds so trite, simplistic, and almost absurd to think that at any time we can switch from sympathetic, fight, flight, or freeze, no breathing position to a position of calmness. And every special operations warrior, every actor, actress, every Olympic athlete utilizes this skill of breathing. And it starts with simply no more than just utilizing a clearing breath. And you see this but with athletes, with actors, with speakers, with just simply taking a big inhale and then a long, extended exhale out your mouth. So just simply inhaling and then exhaling out your mouth. That's all. 3 times clearing breath. And then number 2, recognizing that when we're breathing through our mouth, we are activating our sympathetic nervous system, that breathing through our nostrils, breathing from the diaphragm, and becoming aware of the length of our exhale is crucial. So just getting an awareness of our breathing can calm ourselves so that we can move forward as our best selves during these challenging times. It is crucial to limit the amount of TV time, the amount of news time that comes in, because all of this brings on a feeling of fear, a feeling of we're feeling out of control and trapped. So number 1, recognizing and utilizing the breath. Andrew Weil said just 3 inhales of 4 seconds. Hold your breath for 8 seconds and exhale for 7. 3 of those can calm the body. Number 1. Number 2, I have said this in every talk that I've given. E does not equal O. The events in our life does not equal the outcome. It's not true. It's a false statement, because the event plus your response to that event equal the outcome. And Viktor Frankl, 3 years in Nazi prison camps in Auschwitz, said there is a space, everyone. The external stimulus occurs before the reaction or response happens. You've got a space, and within that space holds one thing: your choice of your attitude. And that attitude empowers you, gives you freedom to choose, rather than be drawn, rather than be pushed, rather than be simply vacuum suctioned up into the stimulus that's going on around you. You hold the key to the outcome. When my daughter Jake and Allie were injured, many things were taken out of our control. The stimulus, the event happened, but the outcome would occur because of the choice that we made to flip our attitude upside down from an attitude of fear, sadness, and anger to an attitude of gratitude, to an attitude of somehow flipping it upside down. And as this great Stoic philosopher Epictetus said, the most important decision you make is that there is a line on a paper up the middle, and on that line, one side are all the things in your control and all the things out of your control on the other side. So when my daughter Allie was paralyzed, no longer was she going to be able to run, hop, or skip. It was out of our control. When my son Jake sustained this head injury and finally came back after 20 days, he had use of one arm and one leg. No longer would he be able to do what he had done before. However, there was hundreds of things on the other side of the ledger sheet that we could do. And those were the things that we focused in on. That was where our attitude was forced to go. What we could do rather than what we can't. Not what we don't have that brings about anxiety and fear, but that which we do have and the gifts that we have every day during this challenge. I know, and you know, in order to be a great coach, you've got to step up in big situations. I have been a coach of basketball teams, football teams, baseball teams, when teams were behind in the game, when everyone's chin went on their chest, when the environment looked dark, when the environment looked like we were cooked. And I know the most important thing I could do as a coach, and the most important thing leaders do, is offer hope and optimism. You got it. H-O. Hope. Hold on, guys. Possibilities exist. Hold on. Possibilities exist. And optimism. I believe there's a way we're going to find our way through this. Optimism is at the framework. It's at the core of sustainability. When Admiral James Stockdale was shot down over Hanoi, when he parachuted in to the Vietnam prisoner of war camps, and he would spend 7 years there, 7 years in shackles, tortured, 7 years as the highest ranking naval officer. He said one thing sustained him, that there was definitely an end to this story. There was an end to the story. And when that end comes, I want to look back and think that I would have never traded this opportunity. This is a chance, always, for you to look at this as an obstacle or an opportunity. To become more and more frustrated or fascinated on how you can get through it. This is an almost unsustainable roadblock, or a chance for you to venture down new paths and become better because of it. Right now, you have the virtues of creativity, resourcefulness. You have the virtues of patience. You have the virtues of judgment. And you have choice in your hands. It's up to you. The wisest of all wise men walked through the village. He would go up to each individual and forecast their future. He was a mystic. He was a sage. He knew everything. People would race up, stand in lines to have the sage tell them their future. And one day, two boys looked, and they looked with jealousy and resentment and said, "This guy's a phony, he's a fraud. Let's go up in the middle of tomorrow and make him look like a fool so all his power is taken away. Let's take a butterfly, we'll place it in our hands, and we'll run up in the middle of the day. And when he's calling out all these forecasts, we'll stop everyone and we'll say, 'Sage, is the butterfly in my hand dead or alive?' Just an easy question. And if he says dead, we'll just open our hands, the butterfly will fly out, and he'll look like an idiot. If he says alive, we'll mindfully squeeze that butterfly, open up, and it'll be dead. And he'll lose all his power." So the next day, people are all mulling around this mystic, this sage. The two boys ran up and said, Stop, everyone. He's a phony. He's a fraud. He's wrong. He doesn't even know if a butterfly in my hand is dead or alive." Well, the sage looked at him and took the deep breath that you and I know we should take. He paused. He looked at the boys and said, "Son, ask the question again." The boys looked at everyone around them and said, "Mystic, is the butterfly in my hand dead or alive?" He looked at the boys and said, "Son, the answer to that question is in your hands. The choice is yours. It's up to you. The answer of how you respond to this coronavirus is in your hands. It's up to you. It always has been and always will be. Darwin said it is not the strongest of the species that will survive. It is not the most intelligent of the species that will survive. But those of you most apt, most able to adjust and adapt to the environment. Practice social distancing. Wash your hands voraciously. Stay inside of shelters. Stay calm. Support, serve those people around you that need your help, the elderly. Make phone calls, FaceTime, utilize all your virtual opportunities to keep in touch with others. But most of all, as Maya Angelou said, people during these times will never remember what you said. They'll never remember what you did. But they'll also never forget how you made them feel. It is your job as a leader right now to step up and offer hope, optimism, and model for others an attitude that you believe in yourself, that you believe will get through this, will survive, and will survive as a better person than the person we were in the beginning. I love all of you. I've been humbled and flattered to work with you. And I know, as always, we'll survive together. When Allie won her Tony Award this past June as the first wheelchair-bound actor or actress in the history of Broadway and won that award, she rolled herself out onto the stage and she said, "This award is for every child who's watching tonight in a wheelchair, with a disability, with any limitation, who's been waiting to see yourself represented on the stage. You are represented now. This is your time. I did this. We had this award so that you could see yourself in me. Let others see strength, courage. Let others see an attitude that you can in you." Thank you for this chance to speak, Justin. I love all of you. Stay strong. Stay kind. And be right now your best self. Thank you. Have a great day.